Yes or no? We are on. No,
Yes, I said yes.
We are on.
Okay,
I
we weren't
was-
sure if you looked like you were checking something. so
Detected
we
some
weren't-
question there. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Orange County Funding Court meeting for May 13th, 2026. I'd like to welcome everybody and ask to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Flags in the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Bill.
Jeffrey Chris.
Here.
Dean Canberra. Here. Lee Benton.
Here.
Mark Green.
Here.
Giovanni Palladino.
Here.
Dr. Vincent Odock.
Yeah.
6 of 7 board members present. Linda Muller has an excused absence for staff. Myself, Bill Fioravanti, Kelly Riley, Mason Bobadilla on audiovisual, our general counsel Rudy Zodi and Lino Sharetta, our state monitor Brian Sandvidge. We have no one online yet. We have a few guests. Amanda Dana, our director of Orange County Tourism and Film. We have Orange County legislator Virginia Scott here, and we have 3 members of the Save the Ferry Coalition, Naomi Herson-Rigsgag, Victoria Manning, and Carson Carter. I got everybody? That's everyone.
Thank you, Bill. Proof of notice was properly provided. It is on page 2 of our agenda packet. Moving on to the minutes for the April 15th, 2026 board meeting for the Funding Court. Would anyone care to make a motion on those?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Giovanni, second. By Dr. Odock, thank you. Any corrections, adjustments, comments? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried on the minutes. The 2026 April financials and payables. Mark, please.
Yes, very quiet month. Really, we didn't have any CDs coming due, so $20 in interest. The only expense that was out of line was $1,486, and that was for our annual Paris reporting, paying Harris Beach. As I mentioned, we don't have a CD coming due until July 12th. And really, that is it. So the Finance Committee approved all payables and approved, yes.
Financials, yes.
Thank you.
Questions for Mark? Anybody care to make a motion for the April financials and payables?
So moved.
Motion by Lee, second. Dean, thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. And moving on to Save the Ferry
Yes,
presentation.
terrific. I'll just give it a little introduction. Back in February 2025, the MTA ceased operation of a ferry, a Newburgh to Beacon ferry. It was a commuter-oriented ferry operated by New York Waterway. There was damage to the Beacon side, to the dock on that side, so that ferry service was suspended. After a lot of effort and public outcry to save the ferry, there was a coalition formed called Save the Ferry, which you're seeing now, and the representatives are here. There was a very well-organized effort to try and save the ferry and encourage the MTA to continue to resume the service, but to no avail. The indication right now from MTA is they will not resume it. They've replaced the service with bus shuttles going from Newburgh to Beacon and back and forth. But the Save the Ferry Coalition has come up with their own initiative. I'm gonna unmute here, I just noticed the mute's on, in case anyone's watching. They have their own initiative to run a private ferry. It would run, rather than a commuter play that was really only during peak hours, Monday to Friday, this would be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 10 hours, I believe it is, and it would be more of a tourism play. In the last 10 years, there's been a substantial increase in unbalanced growth in tourism, jobs, and recreation that has benefited Beacon more than Newburgh. One example they cite is the Dia Beacon Museum, which gets a lot of attendees coming up the Metro North and getting off in Beacon for that. And they get 500,000 visitors a year. And without direct contact, Newburgh isn't able to access that market quite the same. They also see this as a catalyst for economic development and tourism locally. They cite a 20% utilization rate of this pilot program would generate approximately $187,000 in direct local spending. At what they consider a more realistic utilization rate of 40%, the ferry could generate up to $748,000 in local spending, not to mention greater sales tax, branding improvement for the area, and a catalyst for additional development. They also cite that there is a lot of development in the pipeline for the city of Newburgh. Over 1,000 units, all within 10 to 15 minute walk of the waterfront. And they also add that transit-oriented development increases property values as much as 12%. So they are looking for IDA support, but they've also gone to the local electeds and other, and they did get a lot of support. We have 5 letters of support from Amanda Dana, our Director of Tourism and Film, from Congressman Pat Ryan, and from 3 council members from the city of Newburgh. I did reach out to the city of Newburgh. They don't have an official position on this matter, but they are supportive of the concept. And the ask is up to $202,000, which is their entire budget to run the ferry plus marketing and docking. They are seeking other sources though, including from the other side of the river. They have reached out to Think Dutchess, kind of our counterpart, including the Dutchess County IDA, but they are asking as an opportunity for us to be, say, a cornerstone investor in this initiative by asking us to contribute up to $202,000 for the pilot program. I'd like to ask Naomi Person Ringscott if you wanted to add anything to that. I didn't mean to steal your thunder, but I wanted to talk about the highlights. Please stand.
Yeah. So I can just, before you get into the meat and potatoes of it. I'm here in support of the project.
Reintroduce yourself.
Oh, sorry.
I
don't know where to stand in this room.
It's all good. You know, as long as you're on camera, so
Amanda
right there.
Dana, Amanda Dana, Director of Tourism and Film for Orange County. And, you know, a passion project for the tourism office is the city of Newburgh and its growth and all the great things that are happening in it right now. This only adds to this equation of how do we support Newburgh and all of its wonderful assets. And this type of a project really is a substantial tourism project. It's a pilot project, which always brings us a little more comfort. We're gonna see how this works. One of the things I am particularly interested in is just helping and assisting with how we are going to market this and promote this, because as much as it's a great project, we really have to have it together on our marketing efforts to make sure that our demographic that we're reaching knows this is available. And that's where something where we can come in as a tourism office and help with this. So I'm in favor of the project. I think it's a great project. I would love to see some buy-in from our Dutchess County side as well. But this is something that we feel very strongly about, and we are here to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Okay, so thank you again for having me. Can I be here?
Is
that okay?
Yeah, that
Because
works.
then I can see you all and you don't have to turn around. Does anybody else want to join? Carson, Victoria?
You're fine in front of the
Okay,
screen.
that's okay? Okay. Thank you, Bill, for giving that introduction. Accurate. It's mainly tourism, but it's also workforce, this pilot that we're putting in front of you. We've been meeting weekly since the rallies, which were very well attended over the summer, that were protesting the MTA decision. We've been advocating on every level of government to get to the MTA and the chamber, governor's chamber, to reverse this myopic decision. We have been consistent with our ask. We want to restore the ferry and expand it because we heard about these issues long before the termination. We heard it from our small business community. I'm involved with the Downtown District Alliance. We've spoken to Heather Bell at the Orange County Chamber. There's just a lot of frustration with how the MTA handled it, and they let it wither. So I'm not going to share, you accurately described it, but some of the points that we have had, we've had conversations, some of the points have come up and we wanted to clarify or emphasize them. One is the ridership number that happened, which was cited as a reason to terminate the service. The MTA cited 63. That was February 2025. That was before back to work mandate. That was, pre-COVID numbers were around 220 passengers a day. And what you saw when back to work and other COVID measures, Governor Hochul was putting a lot of incentives on the Metro North, but they did not give that to the ferry, which was a commuter ferry, and they did not do the marketing and the wayfinding and signage. And we had been speaking with Pat Ryan, Rob Rollison, and Jacobson for the past 2 years about that much needed investment. And in your packet, you probably saw the amount of development that is coming to our downtown. As just to say, this is transit-oriented development. This is exactly what the governor wants. The governor ushered in congestion pricing in New York City, but meanwhile, she's almost doing the reverse here. I'm sorry, am I getting too political? So that's something just to clarify with those numbers, that with the increase of redevelopment that we've had in Newburgh, we've had, since 2015, we had 700 vacant properties. We are under 100 properties. We've seen so many redevelopment projects happen, which means that people are living and working in Newburgh or in the area and need that commuter, but also that quality of life tourism aspect. You want to take over commuter versus ferry?
I think
weekend?
you probably all know this already, but it's worth considering that the NISDOT shuttle replacement that they are running is only running as a commuter service. It's 5 days a week. This proposal is a Friday through Sunday service. So it really is targeting folks who would be using it on the weekend. I don't think it's news to any of us that huge numbers of people are pouring off that trading platform in Beacon every weekend. They would come to Orange County, many of them, and right now there is not a good route to do that. Uber's Lyft's pretty challenging. The
$15 one way.
Yeah.
And these are car-dependent people, which is in our benefit.
Yeah, I think there's also a lot to build on. Obviously, the Fjord Trail is something that's in motion. Hopewell's in motion. There's a lot that will be happening on that side of the river. There's already a lot of trail access as that construction begins on those things and begins to shut down trail access for folks coming from the city. This is a really good moment as Newburgh comes up, and also just to be promoting Orange County outdoor access to folks who are traveling up here for that. Happy to hand that off to Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
Some key points. I mean, we've covered a lot of information as it is right now. I think one of the things that, to reiterate that, this is going to kind of serve like 3 sets of people. It's going to service local tourism between both sides of the river. It's going to service outside of local area tourism, people from coming up from New York City, as well as even like the attraction to Dia Beacon is the idea like there is international also visitors that come specifically to see that, and this is obviously like something we would want to tap into. And it also does serve commuters in a way because people work the weekend, people work service industries, people work in hospitality, people work in hospitals themselves, and so you're sort of reaching 3 separate audiences, and this fills a gap that is absolutely non-existent right now. So there's a lot that can be done with that, and I think we're in trying to sort of like get this program started, we would need funding to start, and funding attracts funding, as we all know. So the idea that we can get the wheels in motion, maybe wheels is a bad word to say for a boat program, but the idea still stands. And so the idea, like I said, funding attracts funding, and there's an idea of like whether this would be like a permanent program or not. Obviously, ideally it would be, but in order to show feasibility, viability, a pilot is the way to do that. We can see what works, what doesn't, what is right size for the needs of the commuters and tourists and visitors, and then institute something more permanent from that information that is sourced from this pilot program. And I think that's a real key part of this, is that it's something that is sort of lower risk, but hopefully better returns and permanence that can be instituted later on. So.
And just so that you guys know, we are in communication also with NISDOT about the weekday service that is limited in certain scopes in terms of the route as well as the times in operation. So we are working on a number of fronts because we see the ferry, the shuttle, all these elements are intermodal transportation system. These are regional, and this also goes back to the funding, that because this is regional, because this benefits Orange and Dutchess County, greater of City of Beacon, greater City of Newburgh, we don't believe that our local municipalities should be footing the bill. We believe that the governor or the MTA should restore that, or it should be state. And we have, maybe that's a really good part to sort of say, you guys are representative of Orange County, right? This is benefiting Cornwall, Town of Newburgh, New Windsor, City of Newburgh. It bringing more people there. I mean, I think Amanda has, you guys know what she stands for, and this project represents bringing people to visit, and visit might mean rent, and rent might mean home ownership, or investment in opening up a business, expanding a business. We've already gotten a lot of inquiries just because right now Newburgh is in a really good spot. And I might give the mic back to you, Amanda. Do you want to share the latest article that just came out?
Yeah.
I mean, the timing is perfect for this.
Yeah, and just to say, it very much is, and the article in Hudson Valley Magazine came out today, just outlining where Newburgh has come, what has happened, and why it's on the rise right now. And more and more articles will come out about Newburgh and the city of Newburgh, and it really is. It is a gem, and it is on the rise, and it's on a renaissance, I can say. And I think this is a very important project, like I mentioned, and a catalyst for it as well. But more and more articles to come, more influencers coming in that want to be in Newburgh. So it's all of that happening at the same time.
I think another thing to consider is that this is a proof of concept that we're proposing here. It's a much lower dollar amount than running the full commuter service, but you sort of have to prove to the folks in Albany or in Lower Manhattan at the MTA that this is something that people do want. And a weekend service that can attract numbers the way Austin and Haverstraw, an MTA service that runs on the same timetable we're suggesting, 3 years running, has become more and more popular. We are a denser area. We frankly have more to offer over here. People would use it. There are already a lot of people who are untapped on the Dutchess side. Quite sure we could get them over here. And hopefully that would be a good argument to make to the governor, to the MTA, to say, you should be footing the bill for this. You should bring a full-time operator back and do this 7 days a week. Do it on a schedule that is designed to succeed. A real failure point for the last one, it was almost designed to fail. It only ran at peak times, even for commuters. It was a tricky service to use in a depressed ridership. The bus that they're running is seeing much better ridership. Victoria is a commuter from Newburgh 9 days a week. Because they are running 52 shuttles a day, it is serving people. More people are able to use it. The return from Beacon is a big challenge, and everyone knows that bridge is a big choke point. It's 6 minutes across that river by ferry. It's 45 minutes in the evening.
Yeah.
This is not a good alternative for us, and we're all paying into MTA payroll tax.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, they can speak to, I think they haven't officially released any kind of ridership numbers, but for the shuttle services that from expanding the service, they've literally, I think the last thing was just literally said they've doubled the amount of passengers that they've been using. So the idea that this expanded service actually brings people to use the service.
And that's
attracts
before
people.
Any marketing push.
Oh yeah, they haven't done any
signage.
marketing. I think most of the marketing has been word of mouth, and us, and like sharing the word and trying to reach out to our constituents. I think that's actually been the bulk of the marketing.
So the proposal, we're gonna end soon and answer your questions, but I wanna let you know that the proposal that we got did come late, but not too late. We got this operator, Austin Haas, who operates a charter boat in Peaksville in Kingston.
As New York Boat Company.
As New York Boat Company, to submit a proposal that we could feel that we could find funding for that was reasonable. And we are speaking with Newburgh Marina, owned by our local resident Jonathan Gatzik and Joe Benora, about docking on the Newburgh side, and working with City Mayor of Beacon, Lee Kyriakou, on the original ferry long dock. Don't get it confused with Scenic Hudson's long dock. It's called ferry long dock, in getting back the floating dock. Because what happened was the winter ice sunk the spud barge. And so we have been speaking with the Beacon Sloop Club and other maritime experts about what can we do to make it feasible. So they're excited because they want to make Beacon Harbor more vibrant. So I feel like that's a good resting point of explaining why it came so late and why we are not waiting a whole year to champion this when we feel like it's feasible now. And as we know, the real summer season happens when school is out. We're starting a little bit, we'd like to start earlier, but it's a little bit of a moving target based on funding and permits.
Sorry.
Mark Green.
There's a lot of questions to be asked.
Please.
So I didn't mean, please, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, I was gonna ask the board for any questions, comments, so, go ahead.
Well, does anyone else have questions?
You can go first.
Can I ask a couple easier ones,
Yeah.
maybe?
Yeah.
What I'm assuming maybe you're gonna be easier. First of all, docking. You mentioned 2 spots here. Is that firm? Is that in place, or it's something you're
No
exploring?
contracts have been signed.
Okay.
Negotiations have begun.
Okay, and how are they going?
They're going well. We're talking about insurance,
Okay. But
coverage,
you feel comfortable that you're gonna be able to reach an agreement on it?
yes.
Okay.
And we have backup plans.
Okay.
Ted Doring's property at Regal Bag, he's interested, has not ever been used as a potential site. It's not ideal location. And then the other one would be Scenic Hudson, Long Dock. Again, it goes into a park, it doesn't go by the train station.
Right.
Not bad, but not ideal.
Right. How about parking, especially on the Newburgh side?
So the boat, as you know, is 40 passengers. We believe that a lot of people that are coming from the Beacon side are coming by a train, or they are, there's a vibrant bike culture. There's also the Beacon Loop, which is a free bus service in Beacon. So I think a lot of people would actually use alternative transportation. It's also the weekend, so you don't have as much demand on parking. Again, I think similarly can be said on the Newburgh side, that people, we do have paid parking on the waterfront, and that's another maybe potential boon, that you go to a restaurant, you take the ferry and things like that. I mean,
There's also ample surface parking on the west side of the rail trestle in Newburgh. It's what people use on the weekends down there. I'm sure all of you are familiar with that.
That's the DOT owned lot?
So DOT does own a portion of it. The waterfront owners own a portion of that. This would be hopefully in concert with them. So parking probably would not be a problem if the marina was the home for this.
Okay. My last question is about long-term funding for this project. You're asking for us essentially to run this pilot. Tell us more about your plans for how you could fund this long-term and sustain this.
yeah, do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, long-term, this should be a government-funded project. I hope it would be a state budget item, and I think we've gotten a lot of support from our electeds. People want this to continue. I think the real wall that we've sort of got to face down is the MTA. They are doing policy from afar for this region, and all of us know that's not working very well. And so part of this proof of concept is to show them, hey, folks here know how to put something together that will work. You should be funding it. We are paying in for your service, and we are largely not getting it here. So long term, I think it probably does need to come from the MTA. The governor could step in. There's a huge amount of momentum grant funding being given on both sides of the river. We're very excited about all the development happening in Newburgh. At the same time, you're funding all of this new housing and business development. You've got to have the transit connections for it. There's the first Carney building came online 2 weeks ago in Newburgh, and people are very excited about that. We've got the second one moving through the land use boards right now, and hopefully soon to be shovels in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
People are already asking, like, where am I going to park? And we've got a huge, there are 13 other large-scale projects, hundreds of individual projects that are going to bring the same demands. We need to be able to fuel these businesses, these residents' ability to live in a walkable place, to access Metro North, to be back and forth to New York City, to bring visitors on the weekends.
I would just add that there are grants that are federal as well as state.
Mm-hmm.
Climate, CMAQ, which is Climate Mitigation Air Quality Act, which funded the previous operation. There's, we've seen FTA release new ferry service, restoration, new routes, and things like that. So we do need the coordination of our municipalities or state agencies to go for this funding that's on the table. I mean, I think there are many other opportunities, but depending on, that we're building out the pier, and we have the BOA site, which is 144 acres, that could have development fees that could potentially, go for infrastructure for maritime. But that, again, needs to coordination and time, and I think there are a lot of questions, what's the demand gonna be like? And I think this is an indication that can help planning for the future.
Thank you.
I was curious, is there a ridership fee?
Yes, a small one. We wanted initially it to be free.
Nominal, I would say.
Nominal. It's $1, and that's to help us keep track.
Interesting. And judging by your pilot program page, you're looking to start as soon as possible. Well, June 1st is pretty close at hand. So there's some urgency here, and because you can't start until you have the commitment of the 202,000.
Right. We will tailor the starting date also with the Coast Guard permit. That's something that Austin has shared with us. I think also what we have mentioned to all our other legislators is whatever we do this year, we'll be back for next year. Meaning, this work is not to waste. Nobody has done this. This is the commuter connection or the ferry service was a 220-year operation that just went out the window quietly. Yeah. Passengers were stranded on the platform. So this is, I think we've accomplished a lot. We have a petition that's out there that has 1,400 signatures. We have, I think it's 70 sign-on letters by business economic development groups. We have about 30 environmental groups that have a sign-on letter. We have been talking a lot about this, but now we have something tangible to give back. It's a 1-year anniversary as well. I think our first rally was in July. This is an amazing thing. I would also just add, this is not part of the proposal, but we should change the Beacon train station to be Newburgh Beacon. We're on the map, we're bigger, we have a lot to offer, we should be seen.
Good point. Mark?
Well, before I ask some questions, I do find it frankly incredibly disheartening that the MTA has no problem taxing Orange County. And it is probably the one thing James Skoufis and I agree on, that, the MTA gives us nothing but later no service trains in return. With that said, I do have a lot of concerns about your proposal. While you bring a lot of good feeling, I haven't seen any kind of financials. What is your expectation? Like, I guess halfway through your presentation, you made it clear that you're really not looking to break even, you're looking to have this subsidized. That's a concern for someone in my world. If I'm gonna start any venture, I'm looking to say, how can I break even on this so I can get some longevity, not just, do this and then hope that I'm gonna get somebody to give me money. So I think a lot of my questions probably aren't going to be reasonable, because I don't think you've created a business plan, you haven't created a break even for how many riders you're gonna need per weekend. I'm just looking at math going, 200,000, you get 40 passengers max, how many trips is this guy planning on doing for you per day? Is he gonna run nonstop, or is it like on the hour? Like, I don't know if he could go, that'd be pretty expensive for the guy with fuel. At what point, do you have any estimates as to how many people you think are going to ride this? You said you're gonna do some marketing. Is Beacon going to let you do marketing with big signs that say, come here? Because I don't know how their business is gonna want that to divert.
Point. I did share with Bill, but I don't want to overwhelm you, that we have just completed a preliminary report of the Beacon businesses on Main Street. One of our coalition members lives in there, went to 25 different businesses, did sit-down interviews. We're presenting that at the City Beacon Council meeting. They want it. The parking demands are squeezing their customers. They feel the pressure. They want that alleviation. They like the possibility of advertisement, and they know that there's a synergistic economy between the two. Some owners live in Newburgh and want to go there, and vice versa, customers, whatever. It's a shared economy, but I think our elected leaders might not realize how intertwined the two. But again, I think the emphasis is this is not a business plan for perpetuity. This is a pilot to catalyze, to get data, to get partnerships. It's a catalyst.
Okay.
So it's a little bit different, but
I just want to make sure that we all
Yeah.
understand where I'm coming from.
Sure.
yeah.
I think those are really good questions and points. I mean, transit
Thank you.
broadly doesn't make money.
Right.
But roads and bridges don't make money usually either. But their greater effect on the economy, on the region, are undoubted. Bill mentioned sort of projections that we were doing about, if we had a minimum viable number of riders, and to answer, hourly service is what we try and do. Historically, there were 2 ferries that were going back till November 63. It's really hard to do just constant service with one boat. So 10 hours a day, 10 trips a day, probably on the 15s, because you're trying to reach trains and get people that way. Again, this is something that should be funded by our transit agency. And long-term, it's not a business model. This is a long-term investment in the region and in our businesses and getting visitors to come here and spend dollars.
I understand all of that. So I'm not gonna ask some of my other questions because you're not, we're just gonna go in circles. But I will, just so we're all clear, I can appreciate you wanting funding for your pilot program. I'm at some level, I'm certainly amenable to that. However, I will not be amenable, and I will not vote for, if you come back next year expecting more money, because we are not subsidized by the taxpayer. We have limited
Totally.
money to give out to people
Yeah.
like yourself. So this is a one-shot deal.
Yeah.
And that, please, just to be brutally honest with you, we are not gonna be part of your future. I will not.
I don't want to either,
part
to
of
be honest.
future
I think
subsidization.
I don't mean to speak for you,
Yeah.
but I think what Naomi meant was timing-wise, if there's any sort of hang-up, we are not giving up this fight. If for whatever reason this boat isn't in the river this summer,
Right.
we're going to continue it next year. Not our intention to come back to you year after year.
Right.
I
We need
think
it.
our expectations are actually kind of the same for
Yes.
that, so.
Yeah.
A couple of things, Dean Tambori, my son actually took it for over a year. We live in the town of Newburgh, and he took it to the city for over a year.
The
And
old
he
ferry.
Yeah, the old service. So, just wanted to verify them in my head, is like, so currently, who's paying for the buses to go back and forth?
That's Department
Please.
of Transportation.
Yep.
New
It's
York State
NISDOT
Department.
who's running it.
Okay.
NISDOT buses are all contracted.
And what is the cost for someone to drive, take that across?
Well, right now, it's sort of this sort of re-expanded service that they've put out. It sort of changed the route, expanded the service, and it is free for this year.
Okay.
So we
that's-
don't know if it's going to be free next year.
Yeah, the same previous, they've had other bus services that were free as like a free year, and then they started.
And they run on the weekends?
No.
Didn't know,
They do
there's
not,
been
okay.
talk, but there's also been a lot of talk about marketing and signage and wayfinding, and we've gotten kind of nothing, it's been stalled. So the idea that where they might have good intentions, they have lousy follow-through. So this is sort of like putting into effect what is lacking
I
in our
understand.
system.
So I'm kind of like in the middle with Mark's side and the other side, that this agency part of it is to encourage, right, business and whatever, and that's kind of what we do as well. But also, to Mark's point, is like it just can't be, money out the door continuously or whatever, and I don't think that's what you want. But again, I mean, if there is no service to get across the road, it's cost $1 something to cross the road, why does it make it $5 to cross? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Use that as opposed to $1, you know what I mean? I mean, it goes on and on and on. But so the parking on this side of the river, that would be free if somebody parked and took it across?
I was gonna say the.
Unless you're at a meter,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
it's
Unless
free.
unless we're at a meter.
And we're proposing 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., which can be shifted. Austin, the captain, is very amenable to whatever, but that also doesn't necessarily conflict or with.
And then the last thing, I mean, I don't know what the contract is with the provider or whatever, but they need the money, all of it up front, or is it gonna be you make monthly payments, or we make it, I mean, if something happens, is he asking for all the money up front as opposed to as he's continuing monthly, weekly payments or whatever, I don't know, but I'd rather see it that way. I know it's a year pilot, but I'd also like not to say,
It's
okay,
not-
here's the,
Yeah.
I don't know, here's the money, and then we don't know exactly what the contract is and whatnot. That's the only other thing I have.
So we had also spoken with a lot of our electeds about, a member item, and for that to happen, we have we reached out to Lisa Klein, who's a Newburgh resident but leads the Hudson River Maritime Museum, and she's going to be our fiscal conduit for any funding that we get. And that means that, yes, it will be in installments, it will be through a non-for-profit that has the mission aligned with getting people on the waterfront.
Could I, go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, I don't know whether you mentioned that already. How many employees would you require during this project?
So there will be one full-time and 3 part-time. Those are the jobs that would be created directly from the ferry service. And then working with a lot of, should we see increase in funding at the local restaurants, we're hoping that that can be some indirect workforce stabilization. Because as you guys know, the waterfront is suffering. Not enough people are going there, and there's a big turnover. Same software.
Thank you.
Lee?
Okay, so basically I agree with Mark. What are we talking about? Round trips per hour or per day? What are we?
Hourly.
Hourly, 1 per hour.
Yep.
Okay.
Aligned with the trains that come
Yes,
from.
right, okay, but basically 1 per hour, so 10 to 6, you got eight trips back and forth a day. And I have to agree with you with the MTA, with policy from afar, just look out the window down the hill. And you got all the proof you need. So with whatever money that we might provide for them as their seed money, does that go into like an escrow account? Because, obviously,
I think
all the commitment you want and all the support you want on a piece of paper with some ink is nice. When you put up some money, then you're really supporting the project. So we put up some seed money. I would expect money from Newburgh, Beacon, other electeds and whatever. But whatever money we put in, I wouldn't expect them to really be able to start business and use it until they got all the money they want, like the 200, before they were actually able to access our money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And other than that, I guess.
And I mean, you guys would have a contract with our fiscal partner, correct? I mean, that's usually how you do it. You need a not-for-profit, right?
Some things we've done in the past, we could want to pay those bills directly rather than pass it through. That's something else we could look at.
Okay.
Yeah. Just
That-
as an option.
Yeah.
And like I said, I had probably a lot more questions, but I can hold off like Mark said.
You okay, Giovanni?
Well, it's just a tickle. Look, I mean, the ferry is not a Newburgh thing. It's actually, if you really understand the waterfront, in which I've studied to death in Newburgh, it's really the gateway to Orange County. There is no other waterfront access that is for public transportation. So this is an opportunity really for the county, for us to put up or shut up kind of type of thing. So I think it's so critical that if we can get this mode of transportation moving. I mean, the state talks a great game about putting people in electric cars and using public transportation, but they seem to always turn their back to us here in the Hudson Valley, especially in Orange County. So it's time for us, I look at that as more as a study, no different than we've done with brownfields. or any of the other studies that we've done, water studies, whatever else we've done, you know, that's an investment that we're making, hoping in the future there's a return, not necessarily that we're gonna keep funding it moving forward. But it would be, I think, a shame to really lose this method of transportation, since we're so limited, again, to your example, pointing down the hill, to any type of transportation other than using a car or a bus.
And I think it also like kind of ties into a lot of attention right now to like west of Hudson transportation studies
Yeah.
that are doing this ties, it's integral to that, it's just part and hand in hand, so.
One last point.
Yeah.
I held the position for 10 years, and the county is important. Our chairman of Ways and Means is here, and I held that position for 10 years, so she knows what I'm talking about.
One last thing real quick, Naomi, you might want to look into it, but in 2009, I believe, was the Hudson Fulton Festival. They ran the ferry on the weekend, and I remember it was a really successful. I don't know if there's any data that you can find.
Yeah,
We did it
also.
for Newburgh Illuminated too, about
Yeah.
4 years
Yeah.
ago too.
So there's actual standing that could give you what Mark's looking for
Yeah.
as far as potential projections, because the waterfront is just crazy on the weekend.
Right.
And it's unfortunate that Beacon is capitalizing on the train and we're not, even though we're paying the MTA tax.
So can I ask, Mr. Chairman, do we
Yes.
want to call the question? Do we want them to come back with other information? Where are we now, do you feel?
My thought would be, this is the first we've really dug into it, and we need some time to absorb. Certainly, if you find other sources of funding, that would be something that we would value. In some other projects, we've been somewhat of a leader in funding, but we ask the client, so to speak, to figure out how to match that funding to help complete the need. So I would think we could have it on next month's agenda.
That's a little late, I think.
Mr. Chairman, I would agree that I think that if our intention is to try to do something,
Okay.
then unfortunately, I think waiting puts a timeline death knell for this year.
You had said June, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 3 weeks away.
I mean, but if I may make a proposal to you, since you brought it up, I mean, I think this is a chicken and egg scenario, and they're looking for something, but, you know, I don't wanna be the first out. So I personally, I would be willing to say, we as an organization would be, I would say, me personally, I would be willing to match up to $100,000, which should hopefully show a commitment for us.
Yeah, I would say so.
And should hopefully show a commitment to anyone else that you're speaking with, that if you can get a lot of other very, you know,
Yeah.
Enthusiastic.
vested individuals to say, look, all we need is for you to come up with something. That's what I would say, Mr. Chairman.
Is that a motion?
It wasn't, it was a discussion, but I can make the motion.
And I'll second it.
Okay. Discussion of the motion. No, we've got a motion and a second to the motion for matching up to 100,000, which just described to me, we would match if they get that other funding. So that certainly puts the ball in
Beautiful.
court.
And if you raise 10,000, we give you 10,000.
Yeah.
What
I
is
could
that,
do-
what is that, I mean, where else are you looking for other funding or whatever, you're just waiting to them, you have other presentations? You
Well, the
have-
state budget is still something that
We-
is very much outstanding. We hope to have answers on that soon, as I'm sure everyone else does. We'll see. Jonathan Jacobson has been a real supporter
Yeah.
of this from the very beginning. There's obviously a lot of competing priorities at this moment, but hopefully in the next week or two, we'll find out about that. That would be great if that's a panacea. Can't count on that.
So it's possible that you won't need any of this money, or partial, we don't know yet, but I'm not saying there's a motion on the board, but I'm just saying, it's possible though, correct? Is that-
It's possible.
It's possible.
Possible.
Typically, the way the state works, they'll be like.
But also, even if we get the state.
I give you 100, you gotta match 100.
Yeah, but not only that, it's also, and this is why I appreciate economic development agencies, you guys are nimble. You guys can do studies in innovative ways. If we get funding from the governor or the state, it will take forever for it to be released and whatever the procurement processes is. this is why I appreciate the nimbleness that entities like yourselves have.
It might make it easier for the state, because they might be
Yeah.
opposed to 200 in the budget, but be able to say, 50.
But also, I think it shows skin in the game from Orange County
Mhm.
Economic Agency
Mhm.
that we will leverage to say, okay, elected person, we have this much, what can you do?
Yeah.
Because this is a tangible impact.
And Lino, you've checked this out?
Yeah, so what I was just saying to Bill, so the motion is to match up to 100, is that?
Yes.
Okay, I would make that motion, but I would amend it to just say, subject to review by council, just to make sure any logistics or agreements in place will be subject to my review.
Okay. You okay with that?
Yes.
Mark?
Of course.
Lee? Doc?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to ask. I don't know whether you mentioned that. Is it 501c3 or C7?
C3 for
C3.
C3. Okay, thank you.
Anything else before I call the question? I personally am in favor of that. I didn't know if the board was gonna
Do we
have
need
the
to do a roll
appetite to
call?
consider it. Do we need a roll call?
Or you could just, if you want to say all in favor, it's up to you, but
Yeah.
again, motion as amended by council.
Yeah, okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Anybody
That's amazing.
opposed?
Thank
Just to
you.
be
That's,
sure.
that's his job.
So 6 in favor, 1 absence.
Motion carries.
Okay,
Good luck with
let's celebrate
everything.
on the water.
Good luck.
I was there
Thank you,
last night.
thank you.
Thank you.
We will not disappoint.
Well
Thank you
done.
for coming in.
Thank you.
Great job, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to Amanda and Virginia, thank you.
Anything else for the funding court meeting of today? Very good. I'd ask for a motion to adjourn. By Mark, second by Lee. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carried, and the meeting is over at 5. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Orange County Industrial Development Agency Board Meeting for May 13th, 2026. Roll call, please, Bill.
Jeffrey Christ.
Here.
Dean Tamburi.
Here.
Lee Benton.
Here.
Mark Green. Giovanni Palladino.
Here.
Dr. Vincent Odock.
Yeah.
6 of 7 board members present, an excused absence for Linda Muller. For staff, myself, Bill Fioravanti, Kelly Riley, General Counsel, Lino Sharetta, and Rudy Zoda. On audio visual, we have Mason Bobadilla. We have our state monitor, Brian Sandage. And for guests, we have Mr. Rick Minicozzi representing the Southgate Flats Hotel. And we have Michael Jeremias and Helen Pidio representing the Silver Lake Ridge Apartments Complex project.
Thank you,
That is
Bill.
everyone.
We do have proof of notice of this meeting on page 2 of our packet. And moving right to the minutes for our April 15th, 2026 meeting. Anybody care to make a motion to approve those? Motion by Mark, second by Dean, thank you. Additions, corrections? Hearing none. All in favor, please, on the minutes?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The minutes are carried. Moving right into my chairman's report. One neat meeting just last week was with the Federal Reserve Bank of New York President, John Williams. And I was at a round table in the morning with him, a group of business people that included the SUNY Orange president, the head of the Garnet Hospital, and I represented Ag and Economic Development. And he spoke to, the president spoke to housing as a very big need, something they have an eye on. They see the need for affordable housing, and that coupled in with food insecurity and medical costs. People are in a lot of people are in financial need in the lower half of the income category. So it was interesting. He had a team of, 6 people there from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York listening. Some of them participated in the conversation, and it was neat to see. The afternoon meeting was at Mount St. Mary's College. Mark was in attendance, and Bill was in attendance at that meeting. Was that everybody? Yes. It was a question and answer. It was a little more high level and again focused on things like housing in particular. So, Mark, would you care to say anything on that?
No, I thought it was, certainly a very well-attended event at Mount St. Mary's, which is gorgeous. But I will just reiterate, he spent a lot of time talking about, the need for housing, particularly in the Hudson Valley. And, spent at least 10 minutes on that and got a few questions about it afterwards. And, it was great to see him come into our community and willing to talk to the constituents.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, Lee.
I agree with the housing. I would much rather prefer home ownership rather than apartments. Creating home ownership and wealth and equity rather than apartments.
I think that's a viable thought. Certainly not, the apartments fill a role and complement it, but the housing that people own would seem to be an appropriate end goal for those that can get there, definitely. Bill and I attended the Construction Contractors Association meeting of Monday night. There was a lot of people in the room, a lot of energy for economic development. It was neat to see, and I think again, it could be support for housing in that group. The ones that might specialize in construction of homes. And I know that component was there.
And Dean was there as well.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, Dean, I sat right next to Dean. Any comments, Dean?
No, it was a great event, and I think you see what the county is growing, and there's a lot going on, so, just by the attendance alone. So,
And I would say Dan Depew as the CEO.
Yes.
Brings a lot of energy to the table, and it was quite a lively meeting and engaged a lot of people as well. Last thing on my chair's report is Bill and I are drafting a set of goals for 2026 for review by the board. They're based somewhat on last year's, but adjustments on what's going to be most important for this year. And you'll be sharing those with the board, and I would suggest we discuss them at our board meeting next month in June. Bill, your CEO report.
I had a pretty lengthy report in your board packet.
Yes,
I'm not going to add too
nicely
much
done.
to it. Jeff touched on a couple of the important meetings that I was a part of, but I'm looking forward to the New York State EDC conference next week. It's the annual meeting we go to in Cooperstown. As usual, there are a long list of items that I want to speak to my colleagues about and research that can bring back best practices. So a number of issues, including talking to more of my colleagues about housing and how they're dealing with it. So looking forward to that, and Jeff will be there as well. Of course, and Lino and Rudy.
Any questions for Bill? Busy month, Bill.
Yeah.
Moving on to committee reports, Finance Committee. Mark, please.
Yes, while I'm talking about the financials, if you all could pass this down, everyone take a copy. The financials this month, rather benign. If you are looking and you do glance, you might see something, brownfield assessment, looks like we got, $40,000. And then if you scroll down 2/3 of the way, you'll see that there was an expense of $19,800, and normally those match up. Please remember that we had 2 months of billing that were a little askew, March and April. So when those numbers are added up, it actually works out perfectly well. What came in went out. The only other really large expense that of note was that the Paris reporting. We did Paris training, that was roughly $5,000. And again, for those of you listening online, Paris reporting is the state mandated reporting by the IDA. One of two things they mandate, which is to make absolutely certain that the state is informed of what's happening here. And our latest bill, our latest Paris report came back, and I ask you again, did Paris reporting come back with anything other than a perfect score?
We've received no negative note, no question about anything yet.
And not even a recommendation of a best practice, how we could do better.
Correct.
Also, while we're at it, the state also mandates that we have to hire an independent auditor, which I believe we paid $20,000 for their fee. They have a very vested interest in justifying their $20,000 fee. And so they will come up with any way, shape, or form to come up with a recommendation of best practices, how we can do better. Bill, to your knowledge, what did they come up with this year for us?
No recommendations.
Not a single recommendation that they could come up with, and I know that made them cringe when I asked them, because again, when you charge someone $20,000 and you cannot come up with a single thing that they could do better, it is an awkward scenario for them. So thank you to you and your team for doing a fantastic job. As far as what I just passed out, Anshin reported to the governor, or to the Inspector General about their quote-unquote final report, and I printed off a page because I thought it was incredibly enlightening. On that page, you'll see that this is from them, that they broke out our expenses, and I believe our expenses were $806,000 budgeted for or $804,000 budgeted for 2026, which shows how truly lean we run this operation. When I say we, I mean you, Bill. We count every paperclip. But what is included in that $804,000 is $250,000 that Anshin bills us. That is over 31% of our operating costs go to Anshin and to that man, Brian Sandvidge, into his pocket. It is egregious. It is disgusting that over 31% of this organization's operating expenses go out of the county and into this person's pocket. And I thought it was important that you on the board all see this, all understand this, and when you actually see pen to paper, the number, how it jumps out at you, it is sickening. So on that, I will answer any questions that anyone may have about the finances.
And maybe you mentioned and I missed it, but the committee recommended board approval of the 2026 financials for April and the April payables.
I did not mention it, thank you.
Any other questions for Mark? Comments? I might just ask for a motion on those April financials and payables while they're kind of teed up from the board, if anyone would care to make that motion.
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Giovanni? Dean, second. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried, thank you. And Bill, would you introduce the Southgate Flats Hotel project?
Sure, thank you. In the interest of time, I'll try and keep things moving because I know we are running a little late here now. This is actually the return of a project that was approved for incentives by the IDA, by the Orange County IDA back in 2020. It's for 135,500 square foot, 100 key boutique hotel in downtown Highland Falls, just outside the gates of the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. This has been seen by the village itself as a cornerstone project for the future development of Highland Falls. They have great hope for Highland Falls to be ranked among the Annapolises and other homes of the military academies, but it's been very depressed for many, many years now. Even in their application in New York State for the New York Forward Fund, which is kind of the mini downtown revitalization initiative, they highlight this project as one of the key indicators of the return of Highland Falls. But COVID, cost escalations have delayed this, and I'll let Mr. Minikazi, the principal for this effort, I'll let him explain it. But he's just come back because enough time has elapsed. We last approved an increase because of, again, those cost escalations, an increase to their sales tax exemption in 2022. But as you know, it's 4 years, going on 4 years since then. So council felt that it was important that actually, after so much time and the numbers changing, that Mr. Minikazi actually reapply. So we're bringing him back again, same project that was approved in 2020, but the costs have escalated now to a total project capital expenditure of $63 million on a hotel in Highland Falls. So it's quite the milestone project, no doubt about it. And the request now has been amended to asking for $4,362,000 in sales tax exemption, mortgage recording tax exemption of $354,375, and a 10-year property tax abatement or pilot through our standard category of the UTEP. So Mr. Rick Minikazi is here. He's a USMA grad himself, and as many of his colleagues and former alum are trying to spearhead this revitalization of Highland Falls. Rick, can you add to anything that I may have left out about the project in terms of just kind of the scope of it? And then tell us where you are with the project, and then let's get to your need for incentives.
Excuse me, Bill.
Sure.
I have to leave like I announced earlier. I just want to say I'm sorry, Mr. Minikazi, I'm going to miss your presentation, but I was fully supportive of this program 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and I still won't be able to vote on it today, but I am supportive. I just want you to know that.
Thank you, Mr. Penn.
Have a good night, Lee.
Thank you.
Okay, Rick, the floor is yours.
Muted.
Okay, hear you, Rick. Oh, you're on mute, thankfully. You're on mute, Rick. Excellent.
All right. Thank you.
There
Can
we
you
go.
hear me now?
We can hear you.
Better. Okay. Thank you for the introduction, Bill, and thank you everyone for assembling late into the day to visit with me. I really do appreciate it. I think Bill did a great job of giving an overview of the project. The project has been going on for longer than I certainly care, and for the village as well. Quick history is we were really close to starting this project mid-2020 when COVID hit. And the project was going to be about a $36 to $38 million project at the time. And initially started off as 79 hotel rooms. They were going to be much larger rooms. But once we got the costs back, when we re-engaged to develop the hotel, we learned that prices had escalated significantly and that we needed to value engineer the hotel, number one, and one of the ways we did that was by increasing the number of keys from 79 to 100 to try to make it more affordable. To give everyone a sense of costs in the hospitality business, if you're not overly familiar with it, I have the great fortune of owning and operating the Thayer Hotel at West Point as well, and have been doing so since 2009. So over the course of the last 16 years, I've learned an awful lot about the West Point community, Highland Falls, and its economic ecosystem, and what really is needed within the village to make Highland Falls the gem of the Hudson Valley that it can be. And the sense that I'd like to give you is that the Thayer Hotel, which is a historic, beautiful property and has had significant renovation done to it over the course of the last 16 years, is probably valued at around $400,000 a key, which is per door. And, you know, based on the quality of project that we're looking to create there in Highland Falls, if it were to be developed here in Austin, Texas, where I live, it'd probably be about a $425,000 per door hotel. Our costs to build it, though, in Highland Falls, New York, is around $630,000 a door. So to right on its face value, you can see that economically, it's a significant stretch in order to make a project like that work operationally once you get going. And so therefore, it becomes extremely critical for us to gain the support and incentives of the Orange County IDA. And I'm incredibly appreciative of the support that you've provided and given us in the past. And I'm hopeful that we can find a way here to help bridge this significant increase in costs that we've achieved over time. So we have been working very aggressively with our architects and our engineers in order to how to try to help keep the costs in line with this $63 million proposal that we have, which quite honestly is a little bit outdated, but I do monitor the cost of materials and the cost of labor throughout the United States as well as in New York. And over the course of the last 2 years, we've not seen significant jumps like we saw post-COVID. So I'm pretty confident that our costs will come in right around where we are. So I'll pause there and see if there's any questions based on anything I've said thus far.
And Rick, I'm gonna pull up a rendering of the hotel just so people get a look, okay?
Questions,
Great.
anybody?
The question that I have is, what would be the anticipated start date for
That's not
something
it.
like this?
Of construction?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of the things that has happened along the way is the village of Highland Falls has reworked its zoning. And this beautiful hotel that's now up on the screen, this 100-room hotel, by the way, it's got a 5,000 square foot spa, full service spa in it. And it also has about 3,000 square feet of office space, a full restaurant. Up on that top floor that you see there, it has a bourbon bar that walks out to an upper deck porch area. It was located in what was previously called the B3 zone of the village of Highland Falls. And that B3 zoning allowed for a mixed-use hotel to be developed in that zone. Back in 2025, January of 2025, the village reworked its zoning and did away with the B3 zone and grandfathered all projects that were approved by the planning board, which included our hotel, for 18 months to get a building permit to be approved, fully stamped by the planning review board to then draw your building permit. So the timeline forward from January 2025 on 18 months basically brings us to August of this year. So on July 31st, I think it might be August 12th actually, the B3 zone ceases to exist. And so we need to have planning review board resolution and signed documentation by that date. and we are tracking to do that. The only thing remaining for us to complete, getting the signature of the planning review board at this point, in order to then be able to apply for our building permit, is the signature on the developer's agreement with the Village of Highland Falls, which we're currently negotiating. The other thing that needs to happen is this hotel is being built on 7 different parcels. Those parcels need to be joined into one single parcel for the hotel, and that's literally filling out a form. So that's kind of where we are in the process. So presuming that we're able to sign a developer's agreement and we're able to join the lots by August 1st, that would then put us in a position to apply for our building permit come August 1st of this year. The building permit on this particular hotel, the timeline for it, in my estimation, for this small village is probably going to take 5 months. The reason I say that is because I currently submitted a building permit for another project that I'm working on in the village, which is the restoration of a 1863 church into a beautiful restaurant and bar. I submitted that building permit in February in hopes of getting started in April with my construction, and it's still under review, and we haven't even received initial comments because it's a very small building inspector's office, and they have limited capabilities to review high-end projects like this and require third-party consultation, and then they're in line with everybody else who they're reviewing. So I would say if you added 6 months to August, when I submit my building permit, we would probably likely get a building permit in February or March, which would be ideal because then we could break ground immediately probably in April realistically. Now, I'm hopeful that timeline could be accelerated, but I'm just trying to be realistic based on firsthand experience of a much smaller project that's underway.
Thank you.
Since your initial approvals were back in 2020, you've already had a public hearing, right? But we would need a new one.
A public hearing with IDA?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, correct.
Oh, yeah, I came there and presented and had a public hearing. I believe it was a public hearing when I presented. There were a lot of people in the room.
Yeah.
There were probably about 30 people in the room back then when I did that. Yes.
I think your first public hearing was here, and then we held one in the senior center or whatever it was in Highland Falls in 22 on the additional sales tax.
Yes. Yes, that's right. Thank you for the reminder. That's right. We did hold one in the senior center.
So will there be another hearing then for this?
There will be, definitely, yeah.
How was the project received back then?
Oh, the village is extremely excited about the project. The community is very excited about the project. Everybody recognizes that, the hotel that you just saw the photo of is literally 100 yards away from the Thayer Gate entrance to West Point. And it's only, 200 yards away from our current hotel. So these two hotels will work synergistically to basically serve as the cornerstones to make Highland Falls a destination for the tri-state area. Mm-hmm. And there are other projects, like I just mentioned, my church project is underway and going to be done. Recently, a new bar and grill was built in Highland Falls called Westies. And there's another development right across the street from our hotel, which is going to be a 40-unit apartment building mixed use that the Association of Graduates of West Point spearheaded, and it's since sold to a construction company. So there's great momentum based on the development of this hotel, and I believe that other parcels on the main street of the village of Highland Falls will follow suit, and it will become a very beautiful, walkable, livable north part of town.
Rick, can you talk a little bit more about the importance of the incentives financially for you, especially at this current iteration of the plan and the financials?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I touched on it in when I mentioned the cost per key to give an indication. And so that is significant. And when we're leaning forward, quite honestly, being transparent, part of the group that's going to be with me on developing this hotel, we have in essence a bit of a philanthropic mindset here. It is definitely not a build it and they will come and you will make money. I promise you I can make this investment in a lot of other parts of the world and actually know that I'm going to make money on the deal, which is important. But in this particular case, because we're all graduates of West Point, we want to ensure that West Point has the appropriate welcome mat as the village outside of its gates. Bill mentioned earlier Annapolis. Annapolis, Maryland, if you haven't been there, is an absolutely wonderful town. And it sits right outside of the United States Naval Academy. And Colorado Springs, Colorado sits at the gates of the Air Force Academy. And so West Point is constantly competing for cadets, athletes, coaches, and professors, all of whom have the opportunity to go to the other service academies. And when they come for their site visits and they come through Highland Falls, it's a bit of a disappointment, and they're looking around and saying, this is the community within which I'm going to live. And so we want to bolster that community. We want to make it the historic, beautiful village that it can be, right outside of the place where Washington had his encampment during the Revolutionary War, right amidst all of the historic history that's there in Fort Montgomery and Highland Falls, right on the banks of the Hudson River where the Revolutionary War was run. So this is an amazing location. This is an amazing story. And if we can get the momentum to get our development, along with all the other developments built, this can be the diamond of the Hudson Valley. And with 2 hotels that represent 251 rooms, with an hotel restaurant, a 5,000 square foot spa, in concert with the 71 par 18 hole West Point Golf Course that was built by prisoners of war from World War II. Woodbury Common, only 15 minutes away. Purple Heart Museum, Bosco Bell, the Culinary Institute of America, all within 15 minutes of West Point. This can drive so much tourism to Highland Falls as a staycation. People will come from what I would call the quad state area, from all parts of New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, to come here to spend multiple days to engage in Orange County.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Yeah. I can't agree more. I was always wondering why the town didn't expand. There's so many cadets, and as people know, well, both my son and my nephew graduated from West Point. And going to visit, et cetera, I could never understand why the town didn't grow with the visitors, et cetera. And the fact that a lot of the cadets, people may or may not know that they're only allowed to be 5 miles outside of the gates on weekends, et cetera. And it was always very limited where you could go. I could never understand why it wouldn't expand. And I think this is a great project, and I look forward to it. And I've been to the other academies as well. And I can't agree with you more that we want a place here right at Highland Falls to be proud of, to go into one of the academies that we have here. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Mark?
I feel strongly that we don't have enough hotel space in Orange County. With that said, this is something way different. This is just an exceptional opportunity for the county and for Highland itself. Recovering from the just absolutely devastating floods that they had a few years ago, I think this will be a tremendous cornerstone to help rebuild, revitalize that town, and I couldn't be sold more to do everything we can to try and make this happen.
Thank you, Mark. Anything, Giovanni?
I had a personal office there for a year. It's a great little village. It has tremendous opportunity. The foundation, the bones are great. I can absolutely see how this could have such an impact, not only to Highland Falls, but that part of the county completely. This is a game changer, and that's why I think sometimes it's difficult when we try to get pigeonholed and says, no, you guys shouldn't consider any hotels. It's not black and white all the time, right? This is definitely much more than just a hotel.
Thank you.
And I just want to be clear that,
You okay, Doc? Yes. Okay, thanks.
that you're not authorizing any financial assistance right now, just authorizing a public hearing. It's what you'd be voting.
Yes.
And that's through the inducement resolution.
Correct.
Should you review that briefly, or Lino?
Sure, how would you like to?
Rudy, get to work.
The inducement resolution in all of your packets really sets forth everything that we've heard today. It's a project for a hotel at a cost of $63 million. They're saying that they will have 79 full-time jobs created after this project is completed, and they are looking for sales tax exemptions in the amount of $4,362,000 approximately, as well as $354,000 in mortgage recording tax exemptions, and a pilot through the standard UTEP 10-year policy that you have. So yeah, this is just to authorize a public hearing and then come back at a later date for authorization.
So Bill, can you tell me the process of when we do our study for the enhancements for this, like for the?
Yeah, we'll start the cost benefit analysis right away. We work with the Orange County Real Property Department to develop a pilot schedule, so that all plays into exactly what the costs are, so to speak.
Right, we don't have that yet, but we will.
No,
have that.
we will. That's what we'll be doing. Once you authorize it, that kind of triggers me to start all that.
Thank you.
And this resolution doesn't state the public hearing date, it just
No,
authorizes.
it authorizes, well, it induces you to do it, right, exactly. That's the
Okay.
first step. It's
We'll
not-
work with the applicant in the town and the village to schedule that.
Correct.
Anything else? Would anyone care to make the motion
I'll make the
to
motion.
adopt the resolution? By Giovanni, second by Mark. Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, would you want to roll call on this, or we're okay?
I think you're okay.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried, 6 with 1 absence.
2 absent.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
there's
two
2
now.
now.
Right,
Yeah,
five.
thank you for finding that.
Thank you.
5 to 2.
Rick, thanks for joining us. We're moving along here, so we're gonna keep going. Kelly and I will be in touch to schedule the public hearing. Did he freeze right now?
Thank you all for your time and for your support. I'm incredibly appreciative. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank
Speak to
you.
soon.
Best
Bye-bye.
with the project.
Thank you.
Moving to Silver Lake Ridge Developers. Bill, would you tee up this application?
Sure. As you know, we added housing to our UTEP late in, I think, end of '24, early '25. We did that for the reasons that have been talked about at length, the reasons that the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York talked about it at length. We're trying to combat the housing crisis, and it is a real crisis, and IDAs around the state are doing what they can to help it. So that's why we added it to our UTEP, and we wholeheartedly promoted it. And I've spoken to probably, 12 to 15 projects or potential projects about seeking IDA incentives. This is our first actual application. So I've been talking to Mr. Jeremias for a few months now, and it all came together, and excited to present it to you. It's a 124 unit apartment complex off Silver Lake Scottstown Road in the town of Wallkill. It is included a number of luxury units, but in order to meet the requirements of our UTEP for housing, 10% of the units, so 12 units, will be offered at 60% of the county's area median income. So we do have Mr. Michael Jeremias and Helen Pidio, Helen, you've done the design really, for the most part, right? So, and it is gorgeous, so I'm looking forward to showing some of those renderings. But if you would, Mr. Jeremias, if you'd come up and just talk a little bit more about the project, where you stand with it, and then we'll get into the importance of IDA incentives, okay? Now maybe over here, if you would, either right behind these gentlemen. That can work if you're comfortable there. We just don't want you blocked. Right there is perfect. Okay. You're on the camera now, so or you can come right up front if you like. Whatever you like.
That's okay, whatever.
Welcome.
To give you a little history, we bought this property in 2004. That was a failed project at that time. It was, if you remember, the real estate crash in 2000. So we bought it from a developer that failed, and it was 56 single-family lots. So we figured it's 56 lots, it's it's approved, it's already a filed map. I remember getting 56 tax bills every month after we bought it. But unfortunately what happened, because it was a failed project, the guy put in the main road, it created wetlands, and all of a sudden now we have problems. Not all of them are buildable. So it took us 2-3 years to go through the process, and was downscaled in order to accommodate the wetlands requirements to 42 lots. After that, so ready to start, go out and bid a project, the site work was horrendous. There's no way I can build a project and sell 42 single-family homes based on the site work that was at the time. I'm talking about 2007, whatever. Then the 2007, 2008 crash came, so we had to shelve the project. Now we're gonna, things started to improve a little bit. We started to design it as 86 townhouses. So by the time that was done, the financing was a problem, and it still couldn't make it happen. So we shelved it again. Then in 2020, we changed it now to a rental project, and when interest was low. So we got approved 124 units, and as, again, site work is horrendous in this project, and it was hardly makes sense, but as soon as I was trying to push it through, but as soon as interest started climbing up, again, the project is, so I kept on getting extensions from the town, because the approval expired already, and they kept on warning, oh, this is the last time, but I still got it. Till now, they told us last year, in November, this is really the last time, otherwise you have to go back and start fresh with everything new. So fortunately, I got in touch with somebody who introduced me to Bill. And the biggest problem is, in building apartments, is you have to see what the takeout amount will be. How, after you build it, you pay off the construction loan and see if there's a certain amount of, they call it the SCR, according to the income and expense that you can survive. So when I got an estimate from the tax department in town of Walker, it was like $650,000 the taxes a year. It's impossible to make it work. That's when, so we're breaking our heads what to do next. So as I said, I got introduced with Bill, and this became a real game changer. Now, as a developer, I've been developing in this county, Orange County, Dutchess County, and Rockland County for the last 25 years. The last 5 years, we shifted courses to more luxurious type of high-rise construction in New Rochelle. We've done a few beautiful projects, probably one of the most nicest buildings in New Rochelle. So I get a feel for, building something with a taste, with, special with amenities. Helen is gonna present it soon. So it's an interesting type of a community. I think it's gonna be a game changer for the area, and especially, we want to put in requirements, what's needed for, for affordable housing. And I hope that we can get this approved in the time that I can file a map before November. Otherwise, this is going to expire again. It's a total different, I wouldn't know how to go to a lender with the current situation, because I couldn't make the numbers work. But hopefully, if we get this in time, I have to post a bond for the 7 million bond. It's all linked together with the financing of the project. So hopefully we can, with your support, we can get this. First, I forgot to say thanks for giving me the opportunity for being here and presenting this. And I heard a lot of good things about Bill and Orange County IDA in general. And it's really, you're really making people...
Flattery will get you nowhere, I promise you that.
No, I'm sorry to say, you're really making projects happening. I just listened to the story about the hotel. I mean, it's very interesting, and this is really having making projects happening. It's just, it helps for the economy, helps for everything. So, any questions?
You brought up luxury apartments. Can you define what luxury would be in your mind? I mean, are these, I know that 12 have to be affordable, so does it market rate for?
No, I meant to say luxury until that it's not a market. I meant to say, like if you can see the presentation of the amenities, it's kind of creating an environment of open space, walking trails,
Okay.
and the property is 30 acres and only about less than half is being developed. You'll see it on the plan. I mean, it's identified as luxury to create something different, more exciting, but it's not like, it's all based on market rate, because you can't come here with something that's not gonna rent. It's basically the demographics for how long going through is.
I think I may be able to answer some of those questions.
Okay, great.
Can you tell me, like, so they're all rentals, right? Month to month rentals, whatever? Any, like, what are the ranges of rent? The ranges of rent, any idea what that's gonna be yet?
It's probably in the range between 2,500 to 3,000, because we have 2 beds, we have loft spaces, people can live and work, in the same unit, so that range. It's based on market conditions. We cannot go more than the market anyway, because no lender is gonna finance something,
Anybody else? Because is she gonna speak?
Did you
On the
want to
other
add
hand.
anything?
Sure, I'd love to add something.
Please,
Okay.
stand, please.
Thank you.
This is your beautiful work we're showing off, right?
So, yes. This is my, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Helen Pidio. This is my first time speaking in a group like this. Typically, I'm talking to developers, engineers, architects. My company is Helen Pidio Interiors. We're based out of Dutchess County. I've done a lot of work in Orange County. I know Linda Muller very well. I worked for Cornerstone before it was Cornerstone.
Okay, sure.
Over the
Great Mountain
years.
Valley Family also.
Yep. I also did the Kaplan Family Hospice residence over the years. I do a lot of work in the area. This is a new relationship for Mr. Jeremias and I. I was hired by him to assist this particular community. We do a lot of community design. We don't design apartments, I don't call it that. We design a community and a lifestyle. While I'm in agreement with the gentleman who was here earlier, who believes in purchased housing, I'm a strong believer in that everybody needs to live in a great place. So what Mr. Jeremias has brought to the table is an opportunity from my company to design a project that offers a lifestyle, a place where people can say, I'm home and want to be there. The community has lovely size apartments, which seems like a minor thing, but no, a good amount of space is important in your space. The amenities are lifestyle amenities. We're offering a clubhouse that they can have crafts in, and sewing and knitting and co-working space if they're working from home, a fitness area, a dog spa we're calling it because we're going to be fancy, but it's really a dog washroom, outdoor pool, outdoor movie theater, multi-purpose basketball, pickleball courts. We're offering a Zen garden, a place where you can't bring your cell phone, because I feel children need a place to go to these days to play and have active elements of space without using technology. So my company designs a lifestyle. We're not just designing a rental, okay? We have designed affordable, we have designed market rate. I did the old Reader's Digest building in Westchester, which is Chappaqua Crossing. That is affordable and market rate. So yes, it is a luxury, but it's attainable luxury. It is, a lot of younger people don't want home ownership. They don't. Okay, there's much more of a transient lifestyle today, but they want a good lifestyle. Empty nesters, young families just starting. They want a place where they can call home that offers more than just open the door, shut your door, and that's it. So our list of amenities, because I'm very proud of them: hospitality bar, co-working space, these are all elements in the club room. Fitness center, game room, where you could play billiards, or we have shuffleboard going in there too. Clubhouse outdoor barbecue area, lawn game area, fire pit lounge, movie lounge. They don't have to leave, okay? All for the same amount of rent they're gonna pay elsewhere. And for the community recreation areas, we have multi-court obstacle course, pavilion and grill area, Zen garden, dog park, and walking trail. It's a reason to want to be in Orange County. It's a reason to want to live there, not just rent an apartment. Any questions for me?
Questions for Helen? Looks very nice.
Great, thanks. Very proud of it.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And we have a inducement resolution for this project. Rudy, would you maybe just cover that quick?
Absolutely. As you've heard, this is a proposal for a 124 unit garden style residential rental community. The project cost is approximately $40,725,000. Applicant is seeking up to $970,000 approximately in sales tax exemptions and $240,000 in mortgage recording tax exemptions, as well as the pilot benefit for the pursuant to the residential component in the UTAP agreement. And this is also, like the previous application, is a inducement resolution authorizing the scheduling of a public hearing with the authorizing resolution to follow.
Thank you. Would anyone care to make a motion on this? Mark, thank you. Giovanni, any other questions, comments? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor of the inducement resolution for Silver Lake Ridge Developers LLC? Please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? I have 5 in favor, 2 absent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, good luck with the
Thank you.
project.
Michael, talk to you soon. Thank
Take
you.
care. And lastly on our agenda is the Civic Serve presentation. Bill, please introduce that.
Okay, so yes, this is actually a software platform, CivicServe, that is used by municipalities, by IDAs, other economic development agencies. It is used by a number of our colleagues out there right now, so that's one of the items I was alluding to when I said I'm looking forward to the conference and, got to talk to fellow CEOs and others about best practices. This is an example of that. What this can do, it can first of all be a true CRM, customer relationship management system, which we don't really have outside of Microsoft Outlook right now. So it would be that. It also would allow us to automate our the entry of applications. They would do it electronically, come right on into the system. We don't have to retype those things. It would be fed right into other systems that we need. It also helps automate reporting, not automate, but streamline reporting. And I think it really, maybe most, let me let Will in, our representative from CivicServe. I think it would help us with compliance as well. It really would provide some systems that really allow us to bring all of our data together in one repository and be able to extract that information in an organized fashion. So Will Jackson is a representative for CivicServe. Will, thanks for joining us. Thanks for your patience also. I'm going to warn you, you got a little weary group here. It's been a long meeting already, so I'm sorry to put you at the end. You and I were just texting about how to handle this, but if you can share your screen and advance it on your own, I think that might be the way to go. But Will has a PowerPoint. I'm not looking for any decision tonight. This is just to orient the board on a platform we're looking at. It is significant expense on an annual basis, so it's something we would budget for 2027, but something I'm doing our diligence on, so we wanted to give Will the opportunity to share it with the entire board.
And you and I had a call with them last week, so I've gotten a little idea what it's about.
And Marty and I have had a session with him as well. So, Will, thanks for joining us. Want to make sure we can hear you?
Yeah.
Terrific. You're right there.
Testing. Everything. Can you guys hear and see the screen?
We're good to go. Looks terrific. All right. The floor is yours.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thanks for allowing me to join the tail end of the board meeting here. I'm a pretty fast talker, so I'll keep it brief. Feel free just to holler, slow down if needed. But really appreciate you guys allowing me to join here. My name is Will, located just south of you guys here in central Pennsylvania. Joining from CivicServe, and I've had the pleasure to speak with Bill and Marty and Jeff, some in person, some virtual. But I'll go ahead and dive in. CivicServe is an economic development and an IDA software and platform. We work with a lot of IDAs and EDOs throughout the state of New York, as well as throughout the country. We actually just had a board meeting earlier today that we joined, and the board approved us and we signed on. So second board meeting here of the day, and just brought another IDA on earlier here this morning. But I'll go ahead and jump in. Let me know if you guys have any issues. But essentially, as I mentioned earlier, and as Bill was kind of alluding to, what we really set out to build was a platform specifically for IDAs and economic development that got folks out of manual processes, spreadsheets, different systems, and essentially brought together all the work that EDOs and IDAs do to ensure compliance, to make sure that data, systems, peoples, applications, financial information all live in one space, and to really help reduce some of the manual rework and automate some of the different processes that different EDOs and IDAs go through. Couple of different IDAs that we work with here, Livingston County, Greene County, Chautauqua County, Operation Oswego County IDA, Monroe County IDA as well. I know that Bill had the opportunity to speak with them about their experience with CivicServe here. I'll keep it brief here and certainly won't divulge into all of these slides. I believe they were made available prior to this, but 4 really large areas that we sit with and work and support on in particular with IDAs. That's going to be compliance, right? So all of those individual obligations, all of those individual agreements that are a part of some of those projects that our IDAs work, from what we've seen is a really manual process. Different types of spreadsheets, sending calendar reminders, notes, reminders, reaching out to all these businesses and developers, reminding them when they need to send something and how. We automate all of that. So we'll automate the notifications, the reminders, the follow-up, the compliance. We'll make it easier for the businesses and developers to submit the different types of information and documentation needed as well. And then obviously report to groups like the board and executive directors on where some of these projects sit with compliance. Very similar to that, we spend a lot of time reporting, whether that is reporting to the board, reporting end of year reports, reporting directly to Paris and some of the audits. We also work directly with incentives. So we actually started many years ago as an incentive management platform, different pilots, abatements, bonds, loans, grants, and things like that. We start with the application, digitalizing those and getting those away from some of the traditional manual PDFs. We score those to make sure they align with the goals and initiatives of some of those IDAs. And then we automate and set up some of the workflows for those incentives as well. And then the last is some of the business attraction and project management. We'll get into that here a little bit, but that's going to include things like managing projects from end to end, understanding where projects sit, what work has been done so far, and what work remains until projects are to be completed, and also the CRM, tracking those day to day, the back and forth, the site visits, the presentations with those individual businesses. I'll pause there for a quick second, or Bill, do you want me to save questions for the end?
Oh, no, you can pause whatever you like. Yeah, whatever the group.
Okay, I'll take a quick pause there and see if there's any questions from the group thus far.
I think we're good right now.
Keep going.
Wonderful. Well, what we did is we sat down with Bill and Marty and Jeff here and kind of looked at some of the areas. We're a modular platform, so every IDA, every EDO uses CivicServe for something slightly different. All of our customers do get the core platform, which is going to be the CRM, the lead management, project management, goal management, right? What are the goals and the initiatives of the IDAs and how do we track our progress to them? And the data management as well. So we're able to provide business data from things like revenue to industry, to employee size, to how companies are doing financially on all the businesses that you work with. We're also, kind of dove into the incentives, so some of the abatements, bonds, pilots, exemptions, and things like that. And also the ecosystem as well. So making sure that, Bill and his entire team, the board, even tapping into some of the other Orange County's EDOs, are able to kind of use things and work together synergistically. And then also the analytics side of things, right? Some of that reporting and intelligence that we alluded to here a little earlier. I'll kind of go through these fairly quickly here, but as I mentioned, the CRM is part of our platform, so we're able to understand all of the contact, all of the files, all of the documentation, the back and forth that we have with all the businesses and projects, log those in one place so that everyone knows exactly where the relationship and the project stands with all the different businesses and developers we work with. It's also going to include the project management side of things. So you'll see here in this image, there's a timeline that's really saying, where is this project at today? What funds have been allocated? When's this project supposed to wrap up? What work has been so far? And what are the next steps that we have in this project? You'll also be able to, of course, keep all of the files, the documentation, the compliance, the financial side of things, all tied to one project, so that someone can quickly come in there and see exactly where a particular project stands. On top of that, as I alluded to, and Jeff and I and Bill talked a little bit about last week here, was the goal management, being able to set up those goals and track progress to them on a quarterly and annually basis, as well as the data management too. So like I said, you'll have the pre-populated businesses and data of Orange County businesses and developers and kind of be able to understand where some of those sit. You'll also get monthly updates to substantial changes that those businesses have. You know, that will include things like significant revenue changes, you know, maybe they laid off 20% of their workforce. Some of those key changes, the staff will get updated and notified on a monthly basis. And then annual reporting, as I alluded to, that's going to be monthly reports to the board. That's going to be able to help the staff be able to contribute and add and compile their information for Paris come March. And then anytime throughout the year, we'll be able to do, you know, one-off project reports. We have custom reporting, so if different board members have an area of interest for particular portions of the IDA, you'll be able to set up custom reports and send them to those prior to board meetings here. Next piece we'll jump through kind of quickly here is just the incentive management side of things. So we work with all different types of incentives, but really managing them end to end, from the application to understanding how they fit within the IDA scope, to be able to verify things like eligibility and compliance, and to be able to track all details of the projects and then of course report on them. There's going to be things like audit trails, compliance, so reminders will automatically go out to those businesses and developers, saving your staff time. You'll be able to see precisely when things were submitted. Due dates and reminders and notifications will be sent both, you know, to IDA staff and as well as the businesses and developers that are working hand in hand with you. And then of course there's the state reporting side of things. So obviously just coming out of Paris here a couple of months ago, it's a really heavy manual process. We're working to be able to support directly as to some of those different areas that Paris requires every year. I'll end with just a couple of pieces here. So we directly integrate with things like Outlook, email, calendar to make that seamless transition. We also pipe in GIS information so that with projects and businesses, you'll be able to see things like parcel information, who owns this land, assessment values, and other things like that. Last piece that I wanted to talk about here was the onboarding. It's typically one of the most important pieces. As you'll see there on the left-hand side of this slide, we kind of have a 10-step onboarding, but CivicServe does all the implementation, all the configuration, all the setup. So we will take all of the current IDA projects, applications, data, information, Excel spreadsheets, pictures of whiteboard, things that might be on paper, and we will set that up in the platform and then turn it back over to Bill and Marty and make sure it looks exactly what they would like. From there, we'll go ahead and do the training of the staff, and we'll transition them after that to our customer success team. So there's unlimited support from the CivicServe side of things. Any questions, whether those are technical, maybe new programs or new goals come out in 2027 for the Orange County IDA, CivicServe will be able to support the addition of those things as well. This is kind of just a mapping of what that implementation looks like. I won't dive into that with the details. And then I've included a couple of sample links. These are clickable links, so please feel free afterwards to click these, watch their 2 or 3 minute videos of a couple of key pieces in the platform. But that's what I have here for today. Again, I really appreciate you guys taking the time. And if there's any questions that percolate, I know I will be at NYSE DC conference next week. And I think Bill and Jeff will be there as well, and I'm happy to answer them there.
We're gonna catch up there for sure.
Excellent, very efficient, Will, thank you. Questions for Will?
No.
Lot to consider.
Yeah,
Mark?
I mean, it seems like this is becoming specific for IDAs.
Yes.
You've done your due diligence, you've talked to other IDAs, I'm assuming they have some positive reviews.
They have, and I'll talk to more.
Anything that can help us, you know, continue with our transparency and best practices, you know, you make the decision, you're the CEO.
Thank you. I'll keep you posted.
You have something, Dean? You good?
I think I'm comfortable with it.
Yes, okay, thank you, Doc. Yeah, I think there's a lot to consider here, Will, and looks quite valuable and efficient. Thank you for that presentation.
We'll talk more in Cooperstown.
Wonderful.
Have a good night.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next
Will,
week.
thanks a
Have
lot.
wonderful
Enjoy the rest
Wednesday
of your
night. Thank you
conference
all.
down there.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Anything else need to come before our meeting
Did we
tonight?
do our approvals of the financials?
Yeah, I
Yes.
think we did the approvals,
I
right?
tied them
right.
in with the committee report.
Right.
Um,
No, we're set.
I have something I'd like to say before we adjourn.
Okay, Mark.
This goes out to all the citizens of Orange County. It is imperative that you fully understand what is happening to your future. Brian Sandvidge of Anshin at 3 Times Square in New York City and another mysterious, unidentified stakeholder are deciding the future of Orange County. Not your elected school boards, not your elected county officials, not your elected town boards or city mayors. This charlatan from Albany, who is appointed, along with a nebulous, masked figure, are both working hand in hand to decide the future of Orange County. Who is this cloaked stakeholder that Anshin refuses to ID, but yet try to charge the taxpayer of Orange County to meet with? Why does he or she hide in the shadows? Why are they so afraid to show their face to the citizens of Orange County? It is because Brian Sandvidge of Anshin and this unnamed person know they are doing wrong. They know they can't tell you their name because they are doing is so wrong, they are ashamed and afraid of telling you. How much is Mr. Sandvidge and Anshin paying this hidden individual to decide the future of Orange County? These two are working behind the scenes to decide what business comes to Orange County, or more importantly, what businesses do not come to Orange County. Future jobs for our children, future tax bases denied, future school improvements jeopardized. All being decided by this carpetbagger from Albany and a person so terrified to announce themselves they're using any means necessary to hide from you. These two people do their back alley deals, terrified to let you know who they are and what they are doing. Brian Sandvidge from Anshin is a snake oil salesman from history that would ride into a Dust Bowl town and convince the citizens that he alone could make it rain, and once the money was taken, slip out in the middle of the night. Brian Sandvidge does not live in Orange County. He lives in Albany. His kids don't go to school with our kids. They go to private school in Albany. He doesn't go to church with us. He doesn't sit in on the PTA with us. He doesn't even pay taxes in Orange County. He doesn't know the name of a single citizen in Orange County that doesn't sit around this table. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't know you. He doesn't even like you. That's why he lives in Albany instead of here. All he cares about is him continuing to get his $1.5 million payday from the Orange County taxpayer. Citizens of Orange County, start asking any person that wants your vote for whatever position they are running for in Orange County, why we are wasting millions of dollars on this charlatan. When Kathy Okel comes to town on her once every 4-year tour to beg for your vote, ask her why Orange County is the only county in the entire state to be penalized millions of dollars, and what did we do to cause this punitive burden? To the supposed news outlets of our area, do your jobs. Follow the money and tell the citizens of this county what is happening here. For God's sakes, at least ask him a simple question when he tells you the IDA needs oversight. Ask him why. Ask him, Mr. Sandwich, have you ever found a T not crossed? No. Have you ever found an I not dotted? No. The state of New York cannot provide a single recommendation to us to better our state-mandated financial filings called parish reporting. An independent, state-mandated auditor has run out of recommendations on how the IDA can provide better transparency. The only reason Mr. Sandvidge and Anshin at 3 Times Square in New York City says the IDA needs oversight by him is so that he can keep the $1.5 million money train rolling right into his pocket. To the Attorney General and the Inspector General, if you truly feel that you must penalize only Orange County and no other county in New York, then please do your duty and remove this charlatan. He has no integrity and has proven time and time again he will say and do anything to keep that money flowing into his pocket. Please replace him with someone that at least has an ounce of integrity. We deserve better in Orange County. Please, somebody listen to us. Thank you.
Anything else for tonight's meeting? A motion to adjourn would be appreciated.
I make the motion.
By Giovanni, second by Dean. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Meeting adjourned at 6:58.
Thanks, everybody.